Have you ever driven through the countryside and wondered, why are so many barns painted red? It seems like a universal rule, but the reason behind this iconic color is a fascinating mix of science, economics, and tradition. It's a story that goes back centuries, long before paint came in a can. So, let's travel back in time. Early American farmers faced a big problem: how to protect their wooden barns from the harsh elements. Wood rots. It gets eaten by insects, and it needs a protective coating. But commercial paint was an expensive luxury they just couldn't afford. So, they got resourceful. They created their own homemade sealant. The go-to ingredient was linseed oil, which is pressed from flax seeds. When applied to wood, it would soak in and harden, creating a durable, water-resistant barrier. To make it even more effective and last longer, farmers would mix in other readily available materials. Things like milk and lime were common additives, but the real magic ingredient was something you might not expect: rust. Yes, rust. Iron oxide, which is just a fancy term for rust, was plentiful and, more importantly, free. Farmers would add it to their linseed oil mixture. Iron oxide is a fantastic natural fungicide, so it helped kill off moss and fungi that could decay the wood. And what color is rust? A deep, rich red. This homemade, rust-infused sealant stained the barns that familiar reddish-brown color. So, the first red barns weren't red because of fashion, but because of pure, practical chemistry. It was a cheap, effective way to preserve their most valuable asset. As the years went by and the Industrial Revolution took off, paint became commercially available. And guess which color was the cheapest to produce? You guessed it, red. The iron oxide pigments used to make red paint were abundant and inexpensive compared to other colors. So, when farmers started buying paint instead of making it, red was still the most logical and economical choice. It carried on the tradition that had started out of necessity. But there's another layer to this story that crosses the Atlantic. The tradition also has roots in Scandinavia, particularly in Sweden. For centuries, Swedes have used a specific type of red paint called Falu red. It comes from the copper mines in Falun, Sweden. The byproduct of the mining process was a sludge rich in iron oxide, copper, and zinc, which created an exceptional wood preservative paint. Many Scandinavian immigrants brought this tradition with them to America, reinforcing the popularity of red for barns and other rural buildings. Beyond the practical and economic reasons, the color red had other benefits. A big red barn stands out beautifully against a green landscape, but it's even more visible against a blanket of white snow. In the dead of winter, during a blizzard, a farmer could easily find their way back to the barn, making it a beacon of safety and warmth. Over time, the red barn became more than just a building. It evolved into a powerful symbol. It represents the heart of the American farm, a testament to the hard work, resilience, and ingenuity of generations of farmers. It's an image loaded with nostalgia, evoking feelings of a simpler, more connected way of life. Today, you can paint a barn any color you want. We have an endless rainbow of choices. Yet, the tradition of the red barn persists. Farmers and homeowners continue to choose red, not just because it's classic, but because it honors that rich history. It's a nod to the resourcefulness of those early pioneers who mixed rust and oil to protect their livelihoods. So, the next time you see a classic red barn standing proudly in a field, you'll know it's not just a random color choice. It's a piece of living history, a symbol of practicality, and a cultural icon that tells the story of the American countryside. It's a legacy painted in red. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this little trip through history, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories behind the everyday things we see. See you next time.